everybody, this is Tracer83. Happy New Year and welcome to my reloading room. Tonight I just wanted to make a quick video to talk about a do-it-yourself project that I've been working on, and that's making my own case resizing lubricant. For those of you who don't know, the first step in hand loading or reloading ammo is to resize your brass, and especially if you're working with rifle brass, you need to use some kind of lubricant or else it's going to get stuck in the resizing die. To a lesser extent, this is true with pistol brass. It's not required that you use a lubricant with straight-walled pistol cases, especially if you're using carbide dies, but I just find that having a thin layer of lubricant on the brass really helps me work the press a lot easier, and it takes some of the hassle out. The do-it-yourself lubricant that I'm going to talk about tonight and review is just a copy of a product available from Dillon Precision. And Dillon is, of course, the manufacturer of probably the industry standard in high-quality reloading presses like this 550B. You go on their website and you can order, it comes in a spray bottle, a liquid lube that costs about $8 or $9, I think, and that's excluding shipping. Well, what the internet figured out eventually is that their lubricant only consists of two basic ingredients, and it's too easy to just go out and buy those ingredients, put them together, and make this for yourself, saving quite a bit of money. Before I go into the details of how to make this stuff, I'm going to take a couple minutes to just talk about a few of the alternatives that are available on the market. And that's partly because if you're watching this video, you've probably seen one or two others on the same subject, namely how to make your own case lube. It's kind of popular, and there's nothing really original in this video with that. So for that reason, I'd like to focus more on what I think about the end product and how it stacks up to some of the alternative methods of lubrication that I'm going to talk about. Something you're going to see a lot of in your local gun stores and online is a product like this RCBS Case Slick, which is a really sticky, oily spray that's meant to be used with one of these. This is a case lube pad or grease pad. It's got a couple different names, and the way it works is you spritz the case slick on the pad, let it set for a minute, and then grab a small handful of cases and roll them on the pad. It works fine. The downside is it's pretty messy, and also this lube is really expensive for what it is, in my opinion. This bottle, the sticker says $11.20. I don't remember if I actually paid that for it, but I mean it's a little on the high end. The lubrication itself, again, is okay. I have found that it's easy to over apply this stuff and to gum up your press with it. The next product I'll talk about is probably the most popular one that I know of, especially in terms of resizing rifle brass, and that's Hornady One Shot. This is a spray like the last one, and rather than use a grease pad with it, you'll lay all your brass out on a towel or an old t-shirt and give both sides of the brass a spray with this. You can also just stand them up and do the same thing. It works really well. I've used it quite a bit. It's a little bit thinner than some other sprays, which makes it go in and out of the dies a lot easier. The downside to the One Shot is it is kind of expensive. You're going to pay $8 or $9 for a 7 fluid ounce can like this. If you buy it in a local shop, you're probably going to pay more, around maybe $10. And the other issue is it's an aerosol, so a lot of it goes to waste because no matter how well you hit your brass with it, a lot of it's going to get lost in the air. So it's a good lubricant, but it comes at a price. The next style of products I'll talk about includes the creams and the waxes, and I lump them together because they're both applied the same way. With this Lee resizing lube, for example, I think this came with one of my first reloading kits. I don't remember. I haven't used a whole lot of it, but all you do is you squeeze a little bit onto the tip of your finger and then just manually coat your brass in it. And the benefit to this is it gives you a lot of control over what you're doing, but it's probably the most time consuming of any of the methods we're going to talk about. And with that, there's also this Hornady Unique. This is the second product I'll show you in this class, I guess. It comes in this tub, and I've used a lot of this in the sense that I've resized a lot of brass with it, and this is still, I don't know, 80% still full, the container. So that's the benefit of using something like this. I bought this in lieu of having the third product that I'll show you, and that's Imperial Sizing Die Wax by Redding. This was really hard to find when I first started reloading, and it's really popular. This is more of a kind of straight up wax or grease. It's a lot more oily, and it's a little bit thinner, and I find it's a lot easier to coat the brass evenly with this, and it goes in the die really smoothly and really well. It's no surprise that it's in such high demand. But to be honest, I didn't get a chance to use it a whole lot because after I finally got my hands on it, I quickly switched over to spray lubes just because they're a lot more convenient. The last product that I'll talk about is the Dillon Case Lube itself, which I've actually never used. I've read lots of reviews that have been positive, and I have a couple of friends who use it. But the bottom line is, like these other products, it's kind of expensive. You get, I think, again, an 8-ounce bottle of it for about $9 or $10. And once you throw in shipping, if you buy it on its own, then you're going to be paying almost double for it. But if the do-it-yourself version is any representation, then I'd say it's pretty good. Really briefly, I'll talk about what's in this concoction, and again, this is something I picked up from other YouTube channels. I'm just going over what's in it because why not? It's only gonna take a minute. The first ingredient is isopropyl alcohol in 99% solution, and that's really important. You want it to be 99%. And you can get the alcohol for like $5 a bottle. I got 2 of them shipped to me for I think $10 total. That was including shipping. And then the second ingredient is liquid lanolin. I had no idea what lanolin was before I decided to do this. Lanolin is a waxy, oily substance that sheep manufacture or secrete in order to make their wool water resistant, essentially. And you can buy it from health and beauty stores. I got this on Amazon along with the alcohol. This is an 8-ounce bottle. They had 4-ounce bottles and also 16-ounce bottles. I went with the 8-ounce because I feel like if I bought the 16-ounce bottle, I'd have enough to last me until the end of time. The mixture that you're going to need is somewhere between a 1 in 8 to 1 in 10 solution of the alcohol and the lanolin. I went with about a 1 in 8, so I put 1 full bottle of the alcohol in this spray bottle, which, yeah, I know it's really big, but I wanted nice clear markings. 1 bottle of this, and then about 2 liquid ounces, maybe 1 3/4 of the lanolin. And having already run a batch of brass through my Dillon and also a few 223 rounds through my single stage, I'd say that's about the right mixture for me. This right here, I forget how much the whole bottle was. I think it was $11 plus another $4 or $5 shipping. So this amount that I've used, which you can see it's not that much, is about $3 or $4 worth of the lanolin, and then about a $5 bottle, which is probably a little expensive, a $5 bottle of the alcohol. And that gives you, well, 16, 17 ounces of the finished product. As a side note, you can buy either the liquid form of the lanolin or the solid paste version of it because when this cools to below basically room temperature, it turns into a solid wax anyway. When I got this, and it's, you know, the first week of January right now, when I got this, it was the consistency of soap inside. So taking a trick from another YouTuber, I just boiled some water, took it off the stove, and then dropped the bottle in there and let it set for a few minutes, which turned it into this sort of honey syrup consistency, which is pretty much what you want. And it stayed like this also. As long as this has been at room temperature, it hasn't set up and solidified, which maybe it will. I've only had it a couple days. Anyway, once you've got it all mixed up, or once you've got it all blended together, which you just pour it all in your bottle and then give it a few good shakes, you're ready to rock and roll. One warning is this is incredibly flammable because, well, isopropyl alcohol. When you spray it on your brass, you need to let your brass dry, which should only take a couple of minutes. You have a couple of choices in how to apply this, I think. You can apply it kind of like the one shot, where you just lay out all your brass and then spritz it and roll it back and forth. You could do that on newspaper, or you can do it on a t-shirt, which will absorb it, and then when you roll it back and forth, it'll pick it up better. Or you can do what I saw another guy on YouTube suggest, and that's spray it in a jar such as this. I think he used a much bigger one. I have a cut up t-shirt in the bottom here, and then a paper towel, and that's potent. You're just gonna basically, well, first you're gonna turn your sprayer on. You're gonna put a mist in here and coat the sides. Get your t-shirt damp. I'm gonna put my paper towel back in there, spray it a little bit. I think the fella who showed this on YouTube had a couple pieces of sponge that he cut up and put in there. In fact, I'll post a link out of courtesy in the description below for you guys to check out. But anyway, I'm basically just getting the inside of this jar nice and wet, and then I'm gonna take some of my clean brass. I'm gonna dump that in here. So I got about that much. I don't know if that's too much or not enough. Looks about right. If I need to apply more, I can always do that. And again, this is my 9mm brass. This is something that I'm not doing out of necessity. I'm doing it because just having a little bit of lubrication again on the brass makes it go into the dyes, especially the resizing dye, a lot smoother. So I'm going to give this a couple of tumbles, and then I'm going to let this dry for a couple minutes on a t-shirt that I've got sitting over here on the table. Alright, so I went ahead and let these dry off for a few minutes, really only 3 or 4, something like that. All you need is to let the alcohol evaporate off of the cases, leaving the lanolin behind. That's the general idea. And you know, I went ahead and zoomed in so you can see what I'm doing here. I'm asking you to take my word for it on how this feels, since you're not here in person to experience it for yourself. But what I'm noticing right off the bat is that the cases are not binding up or sticking at all inside the resizing die. And for whatever reason, with my 9mm loads, that's where they tend to stick. And I don't really have that issue with my 45 dies. Maybe it's just the size of the case or something, I don't know. But anyway, the only thing I'm feeling in the resizing station now is the decapping pin pushing the primer out, which is good. There's still a little bit of resistance from the powder drop station as the mouth of the case gets beveled, because I don't know if it's the powder that I'm using, the residue that's left in the cases after I clean them, that's making it stick to the powder funnel, but there's always still a little bit of resistance there. and I could let some of the lube get into the case mouth as I'm spraying it, let it dry, but I've found that if I let any kind of lube get on the inside of my pistol cases, then the powder tends to stick to the end of the funnel and to the rim of the case, making a little bit of a mess and also not getting everything that should be in the case in the case. So anyway, I just I stick to the outside, and it seems to be working really well. Oh, and I'm gonna have to dump that since I forgot to put a bullet in. That's what you get when you talk and reload. Yeah, so I'm not feeling anything in the bullet seating station or in the crimping station, which you really shouldn't feel anything in those stations anyway. But that felt pretty good. Okay, so that about does it for the pistol brass, I think. I'm really happy with the results. The do-it-yourself lubrication is giving me just enough slipperiness to avoid any kind of binding when I work the ram, and that's what I'm looking for. So I'm going to go ahead and get set up here, move my camera, and let you take a look at how the 223 or 556 works out. Okay, so we're set up here in my other reloading corner with my single stage presses, where we're going to resize our 223. And I figured since you know, it's going to take a minute or two for the brass to dry from the do-it-yourself spray, why not just go ahead and try out a couple of the alternatives since we already talked about them. So I got my grease pad sitting here, and I've already hit it with a couple sprays of the case slick, and my hands are still kind of gooey from it. I'm going to run these over the pad just a couple times. I'm just going to do 2 of them. And that should be nice and thorough, but man, you do that with 100 cases, your hands are going to be pretty gnarly. Okay, so I'm going to wipe this off, and as cleanly as I can, I don't know how well this is going to work, I'm going to hit a few of these here with the one shot. Normally, like I said, you'd have these all laid out on a t-shirt or standing up in a spot where you can spray without hitting a bunch of stuff, but I'm just going to kind of wing it. Alright, so hit them that way, and then I'm just going to kind of turn them around, hit them again. Now, that should be pretty good. Yet again, a lot of this spray just kind of went right past the cases and ended up on the towel, which that's just the way it's going to be if you use an aerosol. So I'm going to let these sit for a couple of minutes as well, and then we can go right into the third product that I'm going to use. I'm going to use the Imperial Sizing Wax as kind of the best representation, or best representative rather, of the creams and the waxes. So I'm going to grab a couple more cases from over here. And these we can go right into because I'm just going to apply them directly with my fingers. So I'm just going to get a little bit on my finger and just turn the case in my hand. Same thing with the other. This is about the consistency of lip balm, is the way I would describe it. Okay? Put a cap on that. And do it off my hands. Okay, here we go. My press is really wobbly. I need to fix it and bolt it down. Okay, that went in nice and smooth. I find that when resizing rifle brass, most of the resistance, as long as it's properly lubricated, most of the resistance is going to come when you're on the upstroke, bringing the ram back down. So there was a little bit of resistance coming back down, but overall it was pretty smooth. Felt good. Okay. Not too bad. Again, I think that's why people prefer the Imperial sizing wax to a lot of other forms. So, I'm going to wipe my hands off again. Come over here to the ones done on the pad. And man, these are sticky. Try these. Okay, already I'm feeling, and I don't think I over lubricated these, but I'm feeling a lot of stickiness. I mean, it's going in smooth in the sense that it's not going to get stuck and it's not going to bind, but it definitely doesn't feel like the cleanest option. Okay. Yeah, so it works. It's not bad, but the sizing wax definitely feels better. And then lastly, I'll do a couple or this 3 of the ones hit with the one shot before we go into the main event, which is the do-it-yourself spray. Here we go. Okay. Feels pretty good. Yeah, it feels, the one shot feels about like the Imperial sizing wax. It's a little bit thinner and it's more of a liquid, but I get kind of the same sensation. Yeah, so they all work, they all do their job. I would definitely say the pad is your least interesting option, or it should be, just because the mess and the time. All right, now it's time to try, you know, what we came here to try. The do-it-yourself lube, I can already tell is it's a little bit thicker and stickier than the one shot. It's probably more comparable to the sizing wax, but it's going in just fine. It's a little bit stickier on the upstroke, kind of like the Case Slick was, but it doesn't feel nearly as messy. And also, I don't want to say I made mine thick, but I definitely didn't make it all that lean. So one thing, you know, if I decided I wanted it to feel a little bit smoother, I could probably try making it a little more lean and see if that does anything. Or maybe it needs to be thicker, I don't know. But the bottom line is it's doing its job, and considering that I made this for less than half the cost of what I'd be paying for any of these other products, I'm really happy with it. Also, kind of like with reloading itself, it's good to know that you have the ability to make something that just requires you to accumulate a few components and then put it together at your leisure. Because if you know, if lubrications are ever in short supply, which lubes in general don't tend to be in short supply ever that I've seen, but you might not be able to find the one that you like. So if you decide you like the do-it-yourself spray, then you've got yourself a supply of lanolin, which should last quite a while, and then just add that to the isopropyl alcohol, which you can get pretty much anywhere. So, bottom line, I'm glad I tried this. I really don't plan on purchasing any other kind of lube in the near future, because if I decided I wanted to use something else, I've still got plenty of the other stuff kind of stocked up. Once again, something like the sizing wax and the Hornady cream, that stuff will last a long time. But I'm planning on sticking with the Dillon copy, the copy of the Dillon spray. To sum things up, guys, I'm really glad I went ahead with this because even though I don't consider myself a cheapskate, I do like being budget conscious. I would rather put more of my money towards quality components in my shooting. And considering Case Lube, it's not that expensive in and of itself. I mean, if you buy one bottle, one can, one jar of something, but it adds up over time, especially with the sprays. So this will last me a long time, I'm sure. And even if I run out, I have the ability to make twice this whenever I want, just with the other bottle of alcohol that I have. And I've got enough lanolin to last me a long time. You know, if you got some suggestions, if you disagree, then go ahead and leave comments down in the comment section. As always, I hope you found this video informative or at least entertaining. Make sure you click that subscribe button, like and share with your friends. Happy New Year, and until next time, keep your eye on that front sight.